the way that the cost of energy and AI, everything just ramping up so quickly. I said this, people laugh at me. I think silver, don't be shocked if it's hitting close to $200 an ounce.
You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. This is Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. It's October 14th, 2025. Ed Siddell is with us on the show. Ed, it's great to have you back on. So we got a little volatility going on here, don't we?
You know what? Not a surprise. Just a little pullback. We were expecting it. Honestly, we were expecting it a little bit sooner. But yeah, we think the market's going to rally by the end of the year. It's investors are resilient. When I woke up this morning, we were just talking about this before we went live. The market, the Dow was down, 550 points, and now it's down just literally, less than 50 points. The Nasdaq is only down 1% or less. So it's going to continue to bounce back.
Well, the real story has been precious metals here. Let's face it.
Absolutely. And I've been a lover. I've been a gold bug forever, but I have been a lover of gold and precious metals for a long time. And we're not, I still don't think we're even close to hitting the highs.
Hey, well, look what's happened with silver. I mean, we first put out our prediction back in May when it hit $32. We knew at that point, this is it. Broke 35, yesterday broke 53. Today, a little bit of pullback. But even with the pullback action, it's not even near trading at its session lows.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we continue to look at is, are the uses of silver, right? So we have chips, AI, it's because of the connectivity and why it's so important. But also the one thing that people aren't thinking about, it's munitions. I mean, each Tomahawk missile, I've been saying this and I actually looked it up. I was like, I just want to double check and make sure. I thought it was between 35 to 40 ounces estimated per Tomahawk missile. It's 350 to 400 ounces per Tomahawk missile.
There's a debate. There's a debate about that because
they're okay. All right.
Majority of the silver, I looked it up too because somebody told me 500. The majority of the silver is in the batteries. It uses a whole bunch of batteries and they have to sit around forever, which was why silver batteries are the best. And I looked it up on AI and it said 80 ounces. But nonetheless, even if it's 100 ounces, that's 100 ounces that gets vaporized that never gets seen again, right?
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And the way that the cost of energy and AI, everything just ramping up so quickly. I said this, people laugh at me. I think silver, don't be shocked if it's hitting close to $200 an ounce over the next couple of years. It would not surprise me. I truly believe probably over the next 12 months, I would not be shocked if we see $80 an ounce for silver.
Oh, yeah. Martin Armstrong called it quite a while ago. I called it. Eric Sprott for years has been saying $300 silver, and everybody was looking at Eric like he was delusional. And now Eric doesn't look so delusional anymore. Rick Rule said that the hedges, the people running sophisticated silver hedges, were going to have a religious experience here.
That does not surprise me. It really doesn't. And gold is right there too. When you look at gold, again, the devaluation of the dollar, BRICS is really kind of stepping up in China's pressure towards the U.S. dollar and the economy. People are looking for that safe haven. And, I think it's gonna go way north of 5,000. I would not be shocked if we hit $7,500 an ounce.
Me neither. I think Martin Armstrong said once it hits 5, it'll hit 10 quicker than...
Did he really? Okay. Yeah, he said that. Was that
he said it on my show a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Said it was going to hit, once it hits 5, it'll hit 10 quicker than Miley Cyrus can twerk across a stage.
Boy, if that doesn't put it in perspective, right?
Yeah, but like seriously, you know, we're in these really wild times, and at the same time, the dollar's steady or even rising a little bit, and the stock market's going up, and that's the tell, right? That people losing confidence in bonds and in the economic system.
You're absolutely right. I've never, it sounds weird. I've never been a fan of bonds, right? Buying someone else's debt. Right now, it is a strategic play in our portfolios because as rates go lower, it's a great hedge. But just like anything else, it's buyer beware. You've got to be really careful what debt you're buying because that's really what it is. And if you're not careful with these bonds, they're going to lose value in a heartbeat. So I think we have a very narrow window in which that's a decent play, and people are looking at that. This is why they're looking for alternatives. And I'm not just talking about precious metals, but we're also looking at the crypto space too.
Oh yeah,
we saw a pullback right with Bitcoin. And XRP, as well as Ethereum, and obviously some of the smaller, not as well known ones, but honestly, it's another hedge. My fear is, which again goes to precious metals, is that anytime we see a digital currency, there's presumptive control, right? At what point in time, this blockchain, who's actually controlling it, and do we truly have full access to our money? So that's going back to cash is king, or this is why I still like gold and silver.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite, one of my best friends. Cash is king.
I think I had his baseball card. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah. Wasn't he a boxer? Cash is king.
I think he was. I think he was out of Louisville. That's right.
But in seriousness, the situation is serious. They're going to cut rates. If employment starts to really deteriorate, they might cut them faster. But the AI, to me, it's the same thing as in the late 1990s, that the economy was heading for a cliff.
Yes.
Nobody realized it. And then the dot-com boom occurred. And while the stocks and all that, Wall Street doing what it does best, which is hyping and selling, basically selling air in a balloon, the reality is that the internet upgraded our productivity as a nation, as a world, and really was stimulative and revolutionary for its time. Now we just take it for granted. You think AI is going to do the same thing?
People are petrified of change. To your point with the internet, that was huge, and people were fearful. And when we look at consumer sentiment that came out last Friday, it was down a little bit, but basically unchanged. But everyone's focusing on jobs now, as well as prices at the grocery store, which are valid, and don't get me wrong. But really, I think people are fearful of AI taking their jobs in the future. Now, we don't know what that's going to look like, but just like anything else, if things are done right, which partially they could be, we're going to benefit as a society, but we have to be really careful as to that AI, who's controlling it, how it's unleashed, and all of these other things going forward. But I think in the near term, it's going to provide a huge benefit for the country. Now, going back to the dot-com bubble, I agree completely. What the scary part was back then, you had all of these companies that had zero value. They lost. eToys is probably the greatest example, right? They were 10 times their market cap of their next closest competitor, which was Toys R Us. But they had negative sales every year of close to $30 million. And then obviously everyone knows the story, right? eToys went out of business. Toys R Us bought them. And now Toys R Us is out of business because they didn't believe in the internet and e-commerce and everything else. So there's I think a couple stories in there to learn from.
Yeah. It's so interesting. You look back at all these companies that were household names, and now nobody even remembers them. The Blockbusters, all of that stuff. And the technology did away with him. And, you know, if you're an analyst here, Ed, let's face it, your days are numbered. Yes, you got to really use AI like no one has ever used AI before to really stay relevant here. Because otherwise, I can just ask ChatGPT and then I could go to 5 other ones and I can build a portfolio through AI that, you know, it's going to be better than a random walk in the park, you know, than throwing darts.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. And so then you have to decide, right? What is the value proposition? You know, is it just the return or what else comes along with it? You know, what value is your analyst, your advisor, you know, bringing to the table? Because that's a real concern. In 4 or 5 years, things are going to change in light speed. It's going to be before we know it. And what's that going to look like? So, I mean, we're already seeing it in Hollywood. You know, writers and they're doing their first fully AI animated movie with no actors or anything. Now we're having these songs. I guess these high school kids wrote that song, and it had however many tens of millions of views and was #1 in the world, and it was all fake.
Hey, and you got all those political fakes there.
Oh, my God.
So absurd.
Yes.
They're so absurd that, you know, nobody in their right mind would believe them. But, you know, it doesn't really matter how absurd they are. Somebody's going to get upset, right?
Well, that's the whole point. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I don't fear AI because for me, it's making my my work easier, more effective, way more productive than I've ever been in my life. But if you're not in that particular niche, you got issues with it, right?
Yeah, if you're looking at it the wrong way, right? If you're looking at it like we are as leverage right now, it's a phenomenal tool. I mean, that's really it depends on how you're looking at it. You know, you've got are you a glass half empty, half full? I'm just happy to have a glass kind of a guy, right? You know, that's the key.
Yeah, love it. Well, hey, technology change. This is just accelerating the pace of change. Human beings, for the most part, aren't really set up for rapid change nonstop. You can deal with periods of change, but you can't deal with a lifetime of change. And I think that's what we're facing. I think that's what the challenge is with your portfolio. And, you know, do you want to own the AI center, or the company that builds the AI center, or do you want to own the company that sells them the electricity? Well, the potential returns for the AI center might be, you know, explosive, but the company producing the juice to feed the AI, that's a guarantee, right?
Absolutely. Or why not have a balanced portfolio and include everything that surrounds AI? I mean, that's really the key.
Yeah.
So that way, excuse me, whether it's energy related, transportation, I mean, there's so many facets related to AI. People are so focused on just the chip. And don't get me wrong, obviously that's done very, very well over the last couple of years. But energy, I mean, I think that is going to be the home run over the next couple of years that people just aren't even thinking about yet.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you, Mark. Ed, tell us where we find you, how we connect with you, learn more about what you're doing.
Absolutely. You can reach us at egsifinancial.com or on Spotify, The Retirement Trainer. Just reach out and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions on our blog.
You got it. All right. Hey, if you've got any questions, comments, KL@kerrylutz.com. Link will be in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. We're no longer running our own separate website anymore. We trashed it. We're on Substack. Best move I ever made. And hope you all like it. Sorry, we're not aggregating all the content that we used to, but Google made that approach really not viable anymore. I know a lot of you out there miss it, but the good thing is anytime I produce anything, you get an email, you click that link, and you're watching or listening to or reading anything that I produced. So the whole ecosphere is wonderful. Ed, great to connect with you. We will talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Kerry. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.